So today we are going to make this really cute star peg shelf. It is, I'll measure it, about 34 inches long and about 4 inches wide. This was just a scrap piece of wood that I found. You can use a piece of wood from a pallet. It is not anything special wood. It really is. I have another piece here. It's very rough. It is not anything special. I believe this probably came from a pallet. But you can go ahead and buy a piece of wood from Home Depot. Don't get anything nice because I think the roughness of it adds to the finished shelf. So this piece is about 34 inches long and 4 inches wide. So that's what we'll be using for that. I have paper that we're going to make a stencil on to stencil the stars. Masking tape. You can paint it any color you want. I usually do a base coat of the black and then I paint the color on the top, and because the wood is so rough that you can see both colors through it. I have the nails that I'm going to use to hang stuff on that I will put in the center of each star. These I got at a craft store near me, not a craft store, a primitive country decoration store near me. I think they were like 5 for $3. They do sell them on Amazon also. They're just iron nails. Craft iron nails is what I searched for, and I did find some. So you can get them there. They are about 2 1/4 inches long. So that's the size that we will be using for this shelf. First, what I'm going to do is write my measurements down, and it was 34 and a half, I think. I should have written it down when I measured. It's about 34 1/4 by 4 inches wide. And I'm just measuring this for the placement of the stars. So I'm going to write that down, 34 1/4 and 4 inches wide. Okay, first what I'm going to do is paint it black so that it has time to dry while we make the stencil. And the stencil is really easy to make. This I'm just going to do a quick light coat of the black. When the black is dry, I will go ahead and paint the tan on top of this. I do want to make sure that I get in all the grooves of this because I do want the black to show through the tan. We will probably, I did not sand this wood. It is very rough, more like a piece of barn board than anything. And we're just going to give it a quick coat, and I am going to do the top, the bottom, and the edges. Not going to touch the back because that's going to be hanging against a wall. I'm just giving it just a really, and because it is so rough, I'm really having to scrub my brush in there. But and this paint, it's just black from the Dollar Tree. My second coat, I am using Apple Barrel Warm Buff. And the stars that I paint on, I will paint on with the black. So this is going to be really fast. And we'll go ahead and make the stencil. If it doesn't dry, I do have my hairdryer handy. Hopefully that can speed the process. Since we're not doing a sticky stencil like from a Cricut or anything, I don't have to worry about it lifting up the paint. We're just going to make our own stencil from paper. I do have a Cricut, but for things like this, it's easier just to cut the stencil myself than to break out the Cricut and make the stencil that I want in the app. Cut it out, put everything away. It's just easier just to do it this way. And to make the stencil, I'm just going to use regular white paper that I have for my printer. Nothing special. You can use anything you want to make the stencil. I just wouldn't make it too thick, because then it will bleed. So we're just going to use regular printer paper. And I just got to get this piece side up here. And now that I'm turning it in a different direction, I can see all the spots that I've missed, so I will go back over it just lightly. Glad I have these stone countertops, because I get paint over them, all the time. They just wash up really quick. I'm just going to hit the front a little bit more on some of the spots that I can see that didn't cover with the black. And if my sister Melissa watches this video, you're probably going to get this shelf because I have one already. Okay. That should be good. I don't want to put too much on because I don't want it to take forever to dry. I'm just using the bristles to get into some spots that I can see. Okay, so since the piece of wood is 4 inches wide, sorry, I'm just gonna wash my hands super fast. So since the piece of wood is 4 inches wide, we're going to cut our paper 4 inches wide. So what I want to do is actually have the stencil the length and the width of the wood so we can accurately place out the stars so they don't come out uneven or spaced in the wrong way. So this I believe should be 8. So if I cut this in half, okay, it's 8.5. So basically I'm just going to fold my paper in half. And I'm actually just going to tear it. I didn't bring scissors with me, that's fine. So we have 2, I think we're going to need 4. And then we will tape it together and make our stencil. What I'm using to make the star, I'm just going to trace one, a small one that I have. Let's see if this is long enough. I'm just measuring it up to 2. And we just need a little piece of this one. And I will cut and trim in a second. So we are just going to line these up and tape them together. Very easy way to visualize your stencil. And I'm just gonna tape it and tape it. On mine, I have 5 stars. So I think that's what we'll go for, is 5. But I am going to hold this up to the wood and make sure that it's the proper length before I start placing the stars on this. So I want it true to how it's going to look at the end. just holding it up to the wood, and I can cut off about 2 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So now the piece of paper is the exact same length and width as my board. So what I'm going to do is find the middle, and I'm not going to measure, I'm just going to fold this because it is the same length as my board. And I'm going to take the star that I'm using as my star that I want on here, and I'm going to draw one of these and center it along my fold. Here's my fold, and I'm just putting the star in the middle of the fold and in the middle up and down. And again, I'm not measuring, I'm just eyeballing. Now I'm going to trace my star on here, and then we'll cut it out, and we'll have our first star stencil. And from here, we will figure out the placement of the other 4 stars, how far apart we want them. Okay, so I have, ooh, I missed one. 1 star. And we're just going to use scissors to cut that star out. So now we have 1. So now what I will do is fold this into, no, we're going to measure, because folding would work if I just wanted 3 stars, but I want 5. So I'm going to measure from the end of the paper to the middle of this star. And that is 17. So if I go here, okay, so we're going to put the next star at the middle is going to be at 10. So that will give us 7 inches from middle to middle. And then the next middle will be at 3, because that will give us 7 inches from the middle of the star to the middle of the star. So I'm going to draw one with the middle of the star at 10. And I'm going to do my best to line it up with the other one as far as in the middle of the paper. I'm just going to trace it. And I will get some scissors and we will cut these out, and this will be our stencil. Okay, so I have one more to do. That one was in the middle of 7. The middle of the star hit at 7. So this one, the middle of the star will hit at 3. I'm just going to put it on here, in the middle at 3. And then I'll do 2 more on the other side. And we should be pretty evenly spaced. You can eyeball it and do 1 star stencil at a time. You don't have to make it like this. I just find it easier for the placement accuracy, and I can visualize what it's going to look like. Okay, so now I'm going to take my tape measure and do from the middle of the star. So this middle will be at 7. We want it 7 inches from middle to middle. And by the middle of the star, I just mean this is where what I'm putting at 7. This spot right here will be at 7. And then it will be at 14. Okay, so I'm just going to hold that where I want it width-wise and adjust the height. Now you don't have to use a star. I did see one at a craft store that was hearts. It was really cute. So basically you can use whatever you want. I like stars. Okay, so that one's at there. And this middle will be at 7. Because I didn't measure from that middle. I went from this middle. So I'm at 7. Okay, I just want to make sure that it's this pretty much the same height-wise on the paper. And we're good. Now I'll just cut these out with a pair of scissors. And hopefully that dries enough that I can do my tan coat. Okay. So basically this is what we have. Just a run of paper with 5 stars evenly placed. So now we're just going to cut those stars out. And this will be our stencil. And I'm just going to cut the middle of the star and then go around the edges. Now you could actually wait until the wood is dry and trace a star onto the wood. I don't freehand paint very well. I work much better with stencils. Maybe I should have used the Cricut. That's okay. If anyone is thinking about getting a Cricut, if you do, I only use mine. I make a lot of wood signs. I occasionally will make a t-shirt or something. But as far as stencils go, that is mainly what I use mine for. And I've definitely gotten my money's worth. I think I've had it for about 3.5, 4 years now. And I use it a lot. It does take a while to learn. But if you're only going to do basic things like make stencils, it's pretty easy. There's so many tutorials out there on YouTube that you can pretty much learn how to navigate it. I just have the Explore Air 2, and I do really love it. Okay. Would have been a lot quicker to do that. But if people don't have a Cricut, you know, you can still make signs. I always made signs before I had my Cricut. I just bought stencils that I liked online. Yeah, this is okay. Gonna take a few minutes. So again, I'm just gonna cut this out. Okay, I'm actually going to pause the video so that you don't have to watch me cut out this whole stencil, but I will cut it out, and I'll be right back.